What's going on, Los Angeles, Bruin Nation, LAFB fam? What just happened?
Madman.
25.5-point underdog, 0-4 UCLA stuns number 7 Penn State. UCLA's biggest win in 15 years since beating Texas in 2010. The improbable, the impossible happened. UCLA stuns the college football world and beats Penn State. And Jerry Neuheisel,
carried off the
our
field,
very
baby.
own Jerry Neuheisel, getting carried off the field, rightfully so. The Bruins come off the mat this season, 1-4, 1-1 in Big Ten play, and have stunned the college football world. Thriller, my main man, on his way to Vegas. What is going through your mind right now?
Brother, you and I cover football so much and sports in general. We've seen it all. There's very few moments in sports that leave you speechless like what we just saw today. I had it playing in my car the entire way up. And let me tell you something. The pride that I have for how this team fought today, even if it wasn't a victory, I would have been proud. I could have hung my head high, knowing what this team did today against a top 10 team that is one of the best defenses, one of the best collective units in the college football landscape. Madman, do you believe in miracles? This is the game that, we always say it's darkest right before dawn. This was the dawn moment for UCLA football, as it has been the worst 4-game stretch to start a season, maybe in the history of the program. And you come out as 26-point dogs and stick it to the Penn State Nittany Lions, maybe preventing them from making the playoffs in totality. I'm speechless. Nico was as good as we've ever seen him on a football field, 128 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jerry Neuheisel was a revelation. And I got to talk to you about all these, but Madman, this is a special day, and I'm just so happy that we're doing this. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone in this fan base. You guys stuck with us during this time and stuck with the program. How are we feeling today after beating a top 10 opponent, maybe the biggest upset since Stanford beat USC with Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll? I'm thrilled. I'm speechless. I'm talking too much. I'm going to pass it back to you, Madman. Unbelievable.
Thriller, you are talking just right. And to quote and to redact Jimmy Johnson, how about them Bruins? I mean, holy cow. What an absolute effort. Thriller, you said it best. There's 2 people that I am the happiest for, but without question. Obviously for you and for me and our fans more than anything else, our fan base that has gone through so much. But Nico Iamaleava and Jerry Neuheisel, Thriller, deserve so much praise right now. Nico, everything that happened in the offseason, we know the story well. He has taken a pummeling in terms of national headlines with the media. He stayed the course. He stuck with it. We always said he was such a talented kid. He just needed some more support around him. Thriller, what a ball game for Nico. 17 for 24, 166 yards through the air, 128 yards on the ground, 5 total touchdowns. He was essentially a one-man band out there carrying this team to victory. And then Jerry Neuheisel, Thriller, what a game he called today. Unbelievable. 53 runs to 24 throws. The identity has been set for this team. 53 runs for 289 yards and 3 touchdowns, and such an efficient 17 for 24. Bruins were 10 for 14 on 3rd down, Thriller, up until that final drive. Unbelievable. And Jerry getting carried off the field is so poetic. And just to see Rick on the telecast, they were bringing him in on the play-by-play. He was there at halftime. It just, Bruins should be bursting with pride everywhere. And I want to tell all the Bruins, we have that shirt on LAFB that it's a great day to be alive and be a Bruin. It's Jerry's quote. I want everybody to go on LAFBnetwork.com and buy that shirt for the Bruin faithful. And we're all going to wear that shirt for the rest of the season. My goodness, Thriller, I am without words. This is shades of Josh Rosen. This is
yes.
of the miracles that we have seen in years past. 1996 against USC, shades of all of that came to fruition today. My goodness. And Thriller, the one thing I'll say, and I'll hand it back over to you. We got so much to break down. This was the first game all season that we had Rico Flores Jr., Mikey Matthews, and Quasi Gilmer together. And that trio, Thriller.
Titus.
And Titus. And that trio to be able to eat space and be able to get yardage, I think was so significant in this game. And it allowed us to be able to be run first, be in third and short situations, and be able to find these guys in space. Having Flores out there with Mikey Matthews, with Quasi, and then you got Titus as wide receiver 4. All 4 of those guys being sort of twitchy and eating up space. Penn State didn't know what hit them, and they were down 20 before you knew it. And the Bruins showing the moxie to be able to hang on and win this game. Oh, my goodness, Thriller. It changes the trajectory for the whole season in terms of how we think about this program moving forward. Your thoughts?
It's one of those things where when you see a body on the ground and they resuscitate you, they shock you back to life. This was one of these wins that could do this for a program. And I'm going to say it, man. What Jerry Neuheisel is to this program, it's magic. He steps up in these situations, and not just today. You know, the Texas drive he had to beat University of Texas in Jerry's world back in the day. And you see what he's doing as a coach in his first game as an offensive coordinator. The direct snap to Anthony Woods, the play call, like that is balling out on a different level with the X's and O's. The third down conversion rates you mentioned, and, you know, just what this guy means to Bruin fans, because, you know, it's hard to find, you know, these first 4 weeks, it was hard to find the passion, that somebody that bleeds blue and gold that was sticking with the program. And Jerry was that one person. And, you know, it doesn't shock me, if I'm being honest with you, that he had this success. This guy learned under Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly, yes, we can agree, had his problems as a UCLA coach. You know what he didn't have a problem at is calling in an offense. And Jerry was able to study with that. He brought in his old OC, Noel Mazzoni, in the building. Let's give him some credit, too, for what they were doing
Absolutely.
there. In terms of scheming, masterclass by Jerry and what they were able to cook up there. And, you know, I don't know what the future holds for this program, but if you hire a defensive-minded coach like we've talked about, you got to give the kid Jerry an interview, because we can't let this kid walk. It was our dream one day, Madman, when Chip was the coach, to maybe turn it over to Jerry when he was ready. That was a dream scenario we talked about openly and praised the likes of Jerry Neuheisel. Man, let me tell you something. This kid's got it, and we need to keep him around here in Westwood, at least as an offensive coordinator moving forward. Neuheisel, you're a stud, and the Bruin faithful loves you to death.
Loves you to death, Jerry. We got to sign him to a long-term OC contract right now. It doesn't matter who the new head coach is going to be. Jerry's got to be a Bruin. That's who he is. He was born to be a Bruin, and he was born to eventually lead this team. You and I always said it, Thriller. Between Rick and Jerry, that lineage, the love for UCLA was absolutely evident. He waited his time. He bid his time. And here he is. He's been on the show, Thriller. He loves our show. And he even said, he said, look, I no doubt about it. One day I want to be the head coach of the UCLA Bruins. And somewhere down the line, that would be the perfect scenario for the prodigal son to be home as the absolute head coach. But as the offensive coordinator, unbelievable. Thriller, you mentioned the bag there. I mean, that shift to Woods, look, it was this was a roller coaster of a game, first of all. I mean, my goodness. Bruins,
let me just chime in on this. It's one thing to do this against a Michigan State defense. He did this against Jim Knowles and Penn State and James Franklin. A defense with Jim Knowles was the defensive coordinator of Ohio State last year, Madman. This is as impressive as it gets. I'm sorry, I just had to add. No.
I mean, to your point, Thriller, they gave up 17 to Oregon in regulation at home. I mean, this is 42. I mean, and you know what's so interesting about all this? Now, I am not going to claim that you and I came even remotely close to projecting this season. I mean, we have been as wrong as you can be. You and I were thinking 7-5, could be north of that. But remember way back when we said, that Penn State game is going to be tricky because they're going to be emotionally hungover.
Trap game.
It's a trap game. After that Oregon game, you saw it. You saw it, Thriller. Penn State didn't look like they got out of the bus until halftime. I mean, they were absolutely sleepwalking through the first half of that game. What a start, Thriller. I mean, you go down 14-play drive to open the game up 7-0, and then you have the onside. You eat up more clock, and make it 10-0. 10 minutes have gone by in the game, and Penn State hasn't even had the ball yet. I mean, it was total ball control from an offensive perspective. UCLA was able to continue to get out in front and maintain a lead. I mean, Thriller, think about this. Of all of the crazy stats, UCLA coming into this game had not led for 1 second for the entire season.
4 games. Yeah.
They were wire to wire in front in this game. They never trailed in this ball game against number 7 Penn State. It was a masterclass, Thriller. That ball that Nico had, beautiful 24-yard pass to TMA to set up that field goal. And then, my goodness, that 43-yard dime to Quasi and that double coverage to set up one of those final scores at the end of the first half was absolutely sensational. And Nico running wild. I mean, it was 27-7 at the half. And then, you get that fumble right at the start of the third quarter. And you're thinking, we're going to run away and hide with this thing. We get stalled. Bugatti, his first miss of the whole season, he misses one. Penn State roars back down 27-14. Then you get the block punt 27-21.
I was nervous when that happened.
And then you're nervous. You're nervous because you're like, oh boy, this is now they're starting to catch up. And then Nico has that 52-yard run to
play the
set
game
up 34-21 because then Woods was able to, on that shift, they were able to make that play that you were alluding to. Then Penn State comes back 34-28. Then Nico has another 25-yard run that was insane to go up ahead. Penn State gets another touchdown. And then the Bruins getting stuffed at their own 4th and 1. At that point, with less than 2 minutes to go, you're like, okay, well, Penn State's probably going to score here. It's going to be 42-all. And then hopefully we have some time to go down and kick a field goal with Bagani. Or, we'll like our chances in overtime. And the defense steps up, Thriller. 4th and 2 on that keeper. They ran that play against Oregon last week in overtime. Everyone knew Aller was going to keep the ball. They stuff him to win the game, Thriller. Oh, my God. Delirium. You get the safety at the end, which was a really nice play call by Tim Skipper.
Yes.
And there you have it. The Bruins 42-37. And a huge shout out to Tim Skipper, Thriller. I mean, his energy, the way he managed timeouts in this game, the way he managed the flow of this game, ton of credit to Tim Skipper. And I just love the energy and the dynamism between Skipper and Neuheisel. There's a renewed sense. There's just a rebirth with this team. And yet again, I just could not be happier for Nico. No one has taken more of a beating in terms of the public eye than Nico Iamaleava. And on national television, the primetime game of the week, for him to ball out and get 300 total yards, 5 touchdowns, and beat a number 7 team in the country, 25.5-point underdog. This is the first time in 40 years since UTEP, 0-4 UTEP, beat number 7 BYU in 1985, has a team 0-4 or worse beaten a top 10 team. This is the first time in 40 years. We saw history tonight, and Will and I are absolutely delirious, if you can tell. Thriller, just your thoughts on this game, the execution. I mean, I know you gave all the emotion. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think we got to just talk a little bit about our guy, Nico, and what he did today. From a mental standpoint, from how this season started to, all the comments about him in the offseason and his move to UCLA, for him to put forth, it's the greatest quarterbacking performance UCLA's had since the Josh Rosen game against Texas A&M. I think we can agree on that. This is probably a top 5 game from an individual UCLA player, I think, ever. I think we have to start talking like that. If you know what the stakes are like, this is the biggest upset we've had in program history. And we do it against a Penn State team where their defense is as fearsome as it comes. And this guy, Gary Danielson nailed it. This guy looked like Vince Young out in the open field. When a play would break down, just what he has used with his legs this season. We knew he would have a chance to maybe extend first downs. But that 3rd and 9, when we're up by 1 score at that point, does a beautiful spin move.
Yes.
That is because after that punt block, I'll be honest with you, man, when they return that for a touchdown, I'm like, what an effort. I don't know if we can sustain what's coming right now because that's back-to-back touchdowns for Penn State. It's now a 1-score game. Nico Iamaleava with maybe the most mentally tough, flawless performance I have ever seen from a quarterback since at least covering this team. Josh Rosen comes to mind, maybe some Brett Hundley performances. But you got to put this on the Mount Rushmore of UCLA performances. This is everything you wanted from a transfer quarterback in one game. And boy, did he flat out deliver. I am ecstatic to not only watch these highlights today, but to watch how him and Jerry mesh for the rest of the season and how they can call this game because lo and behold, the quarterback, the 5-star talent, you have awakened a sleeping giant here now. Let's see what they can cook up right moving forward. I'm speechless. I'm going crazy in my car. This is unbelievable. Nico, you're outstanding. MVP of the ball game. No questions asked.
No questions asked, Thriller. So well said. And what I love about it is, the way he has stayed poised, the way he said it's all about the team. He's never been down in any sort of press conference, head held high, no matter what's been written about him. And, Thriller, I got a little bit of heat on this show for saying he needs to stick it out because this is going to be an incredible learning experience from an NFL perspective.
This is a conversation we were having.
Let me tell you something, okay? These NFL GMs are noticing this and saying not only did he stick it out, but now he rose up and beat a top 10 team. And if he hangs in there, NFL GMs are noticing this is what it takes to get to the next level. This is what it takes. You and I have talked about it for years. It's not the QBs from the blue chip schools that have all of the advantages at receiver and offensive line and tight end and running back and so forth. It's how do you elevate a program when so much is asked of you, when you have outsized responsibility for a program, and can you elevate that program? That is the greatest prerequisite for the NFL, period, from a quarterback position. And Nico Iamaleava was absolutely dynamite. Right down to that right corner of the end zone above the pylon on that last touchdown. Reminded so many of Vince Young in that iconic 2006 Rose Bowl game. So my goodness, Thriller, what just happened? This is the beauty. This is why we love college football. This is why we love the Bruins, because there's a romanticism to this sport, Thriller.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful because just when you think you know, you don't know. And that it is that element that creates the hope and creates the heartbreak and creates all of the emotions associated with this sport. I'm just delirious right now for this team and for this program. The Bruins are back, baby. And now, Thriller, listen, we're not going to sort of get incredibly carried away. We're getting, sort of so emotional right now. But I look at this schedule. At Michigan State's a winnable game. Home for Washington now is a winnable game. You see what's going on with Washington? There's some wins now on this schedule. There's some wins on this schedule, okay? And let me tell you, there's two crazy games, okay? I still think at Ohio State and at Indiana is those are two crazy games.
Tough ones, yes.
Tough ones. But it is not out of the realm. If they show up and play with the effort that they played with here, you're telling me they can't compete with Michigan State? They can't compete with Maryland at home?
No,
they can't compete with Washington at home? They can't compete with Nebraska at home? They can compete in all of those games. Rivalry game against SC, you rip up the paper and throw it all out. That's a rivalry game. Look, as crazy as it sounds, and people can kill me in the comments for blowing smoke for this team, it's 1-4. It's 1-1 in the Big Ten. They can still make a bowl game this year if they play the way they played right here. It is not out of the realm of possibility. There's two games to me that are sort of unattainable. These other 5 games, they can play in all of these games. And so, we have been revived for this particular season. Thriller, I know you're on your way to Vegas. You and I have been watching the whole game. We were it's been a slog.
We don't even know what to say right now.
I don't even know what to say. I'm out of breath. I need a sports drink. I'm about to pass out. I'm seeing blue and gold spots. But Thriller, anything you want to close with before we wrap?
Yes, the defense needs to be shouted out as well. Allowing 7 points in the first half to Penn State. Oregon allowed only 3 in the first half the previous week. Jacob Busich with a couple big tackles for a loss. The fourth down stop. Key Lawrence was out there being physical all game long. I know Cole Martin missed Drew Aller on that 3rd and 9, but he stopped him for a loss on the previous play.
Yes.
These guys did enough to win the football game. And I know Nico was our savior and did some big things, but without that 4th and 1 stop, we're not having this conversation right now and how they have performed in the first half. So the defense needs a lot of shouting out, specifically Tim Skipper. So this might be the greatest day I've ever had in my fandom of UCLA. I got to be honest with you. I think this is it. We've had a couple big ones. That LSU one back in 2021 was huge. USC, the 2023 one was special because you remember Chip was on the hot seat. Garbers came in. But, dude, it's Texas A&M game, which was just flat out one of the craziest football games anyone's ever watched, period. Am I missing any? You got to get me back to the 90s. I don't even remember the crazy games, but where does this rank to you just in the immediate moment?
Just in terms of the moment, in terms of the excitement and just everything that led up to it. Think about this, Thriller. There was fire Martin Jarman. There was an airplane flying above the stadium to fire Martin Jarman. That's the context under which this game happened and this upset happened. In terms of sheer drama and an iconic performance and an ending and the unexpected. This is right there for me with 1996 USC when UCLA came back from 17 down in the fourth quarter. This is right up there with the DTR hurdle autograph game against SC. That's a huge one. This is right up there with Jerry, ironically, when he came in for Hundley to beat Texas. That's right up there. Obviously, the Rosen Texas A&M game, that DTR game against Washington State, that 67-63
that was a
bonanza.
Crazy game too. Yeah,
that was a bonanza game.
Yeah.
So it's right up there in the last 30 years of those 5 or 6 games. This is right there. And the thing that this one has that those others may not have is you're talking about an 0-4 team beating a top 10 team, and you're talking about a situation where your head coach, your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator to start the season all are no longer with the team, and you've got an airplane flying above the stadium saying fired the athletic director. The context under which this game happened is unbelievable.
Madman, not even that. We lost our offensive coordinator this week, our head coach, our defensive coordinator all in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Not only we were cobbled together like a piece of duct tape holding us together, and we somehow found a way to win, and we were surprisingly better coached and, in a lot of different ways and schemed more properly. This is the greatest win I've ever experienced. Knowing what we went through with the athletic director being under serious fire right now and all the stuff happening with the coaching staff, how we started this season at 0-4, to me, this is the greatest. Outside of a USC rivalry win, this is the greatest win I've ever experienced as someone that covers UCLA with you, man. And I just want to say, guys, thank you so much for sticking with this program and sticking, with hearing out us, man. We love and care about this program in a way that's hard to sometimes verbalize. And it's been really tough what's happened. You guys have seen my reactions to what's been going on the first 4 weeks. But it's days like today, man, that make it all worth it at the end when you put in that effort. So I'm just so honored to be on here with you, Madman, and just so grateful at the outcome of today's game. It's unbelievable.
Thriller, what a ride it's been. And I'll give just a couple shout outs before we go. You said it best, Thriller. Key Lawrence, Jalen Woods, John Vaughns, Isaiah Chisholm. Those 4 guys absolutely balled out, shot the gaps, played with such effort, sideline to sideline. They had their share of great plays. They had their share of misses. But we will take that level of effort and intensity every time, and you can live with all of the results there. They were absolutely massive. And Thriller, it is an absolute honor and privilege and joy to be able to do this with you. You and I have been doing this since 2021. We have been there for the ups. We have been there for
For
the
the
downs. We
downs,
have
yeah.
been there for the entire roller coaster. And there's no one else I'd rather be in the saddle with for our beloved UCLA Bruins. And we close the show saying this every time, but today it's got to be even more. Today is the day where you got to be loud, you got to be proud, you got to be passionate, Bruins, and four's up forever, baby. Four's up forever.